Basically what we do is improvise in a compositional manner. So we spontaneously create things, in the spur of the moment, whatever just kind of comes to mind, but we use all of our experience, everything we know as musicians, to turn that into a piece of music in the moment.
I can play counterpoint or not. If I hear Terry playing some theme or something, I can leave it alone, let him just state it. I can play in unison with him, be a background part. You have the world of music kind of at your fingertips, and that's the fun part, is just have two musicians go out there and create something out of thin air.
What I like to do is, if you read like a Harvard brief dictionary of music and look up terms, when you're on a plane or when you have nothing to do, and usually a term will give you a definition, and you go, oh, an ostinato, a repeated musical phrase, that's something that I do on the drums, okay? And then it says, see also blah, 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 and so, or homophony, let's say. So then you look up homophony, and that means sound with sound, sort of chordal accompaniment and a lead melody line, okay? So then you go, oh, okay, well, when I keep just eighth notes on a floor tom, that sets a bass note, and if I move that down, go back and forth between these two toms, I can create a little chord progression. And then if I get the independence to solo against that, I can have a lead melody against chord changes. So to identify these different concepts, then you have to internalize them. And that only comes from experience, being aware of them, and trying to use them in situations until you get familiar enough that you can trust in the moment to just let go and see what happens. To bring it all back home again, it's like everything you know is used in the moment to try and make music. I set my toms up in a zigzag pattern because obviously to play the sizes of drums I want and keep kind of within the tradition of the drum set, which is traditionally low on the right and high on the left, I have to have double racks because there's no way to fit those notes and spread them all out. I couldn't reach. So I go, dum, 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 in this zigzag pattern. And then when I get to the chromatics, like I said before, it's up in half steps. So da 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 da, like that. And with my kick drums, I'm more limited because there's different functions to the kick drums. One is to have the open sound, that color, and that gets into orchestrational colors and textures. And I want to have certain crash, like China hi-hats, remote hi-hats with that, so I can play bass drum and cymbals at the same time. So I can't have just a row of bass drums because then I won't have the option of playing a bass drum with a hi-hat or something. So to the best of my ability, the way I've come up with it right now is this one on the right is tuned to a low A, and then there's a D at the 18. Over on this side I have a C and then an F. And there's also that wooden djembe, which is tuned basically to an E. And this little wooden tambourine is tuned to a C. My piccolo foot tom, I have a couple of those, so I can have a D or a G or any note I want to tune it to.
The drums are basically all the white notes. I mean, I don't have all the white notes, but I have quite a lot of them. The highest is F, starting on the highest, and it goes down to the 18-inch floor tom is an A. This finish is a new finish called hard satin. It's a Carillion birch, which I think is a Scandinavian tree, not a planet, right? But yeah, I mean, they're just gorgeous, but it's got more of a matte finish to it, and it's actually a lacquer that's been tweaked, so it's very, it's going to last a long time. And I'm really, really loving it. The VLT, for me, has brought the fundamental in more of a focus, and it also has given me a little bit of a warmer sound. I almost hear less harmonics in the tom, so when I am playing a note, to me it feels like it is a bit truer to that note than it was before. So it's actually working out great.
Yeah, so if you want punch and low end, the VLT is really the way to go. Especially for me, it was crucial because I'm using smaller drums in order to, have the amount of notes I want melodically. I'm using the faster, shallower sizes. The difference between an identical size shell, that's VLT versus normal, is the pitch drops remarkably. Before I used to use an 18-inch floor tom. I'm getting away with using a little 14-inch floor tom. Depending on how you hit it, you can get some low end out of that thing. And then, the other thing is the timbre matching and the vertical low timbre approach of putting the vertical ply on the inner and outer part of the shell has really helped me to hone this drum set in. You'll notice I have 20-inch bass drums now, and with the short stacks and the way I want to play melodically, a 22 is just too big and thuddy for my kit. Too loud, too dynamically improper.
It's because the DW edges are so true, too. You do get a big tuning range. On a drum that the edges aren't true, you have a very small tuning range. A drum shell has a resonant fundamental frequency, but you have quite a wide range above and below that. Sometimes you're in the studio and you get to do some creative things like play drum fills in octaves, and I can tune them way down there and they can still get the note out of it. So I think they've got a bigger tuning range than any other drums that I've played, and I think it's great that they are timbre matched, because you will get the 10-inch is going to be a higher range than your 12. Basically, from left to right, I've got a remote hi-hat, a cable hi-hat that reaches over to the right side, which I have the 12-inch hi-hats on. Then there's a left bass drum, then the right bass drum. Actually, it's just the 3 pedals on this set. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot the hi-hat. So it's remote hi-hat, then left bass drum. So there's 3 pedals on the left side, and the right is just playing the right bass drum.
For me, I've got these front 2 are pretty happening for me now. And the rest of my pedals are remote pedals, and essentially it's taking the technology that DW's always had with their double bass pedal for a single bass drum and just using that technology but in a different way. So I'll have a pedal near me that has a linkage that goes out and hits a beater ball spring assembly on a bass drum that's mounted remotely. Now with the more direct linkage that we can do, I can have a bass drum pedal with a cam going into the side axle of the 9000 hi-hat pedal, which has its double cam, and I can get these remote hi-hats that are like sometimes 6 feet away from a pedal to feel like, faster than any light little jazz hi-hat I ever played.
Zappa used to talk about framing music. He used to tell me that, well, if you want to state a theme, you need to frame it with space. And then you need to repeat it so people can hear this. And classical composers use this all the time.
I love Miles Davis, and he just plays the coolest out notes from the chord. And the way he'll develop a line inside and then go to an out note creates this wonderful tension in his personality, which I'm enamored with, so I try and emulate the way he plays. And the piccolo toms have that sharp, short thing that sort of a muted trumpet has with buzz strokes, so I try and emulate him.
DW, the drummer's choice.